Jason opened his eyes to a strange sky. The air felt different, and the sun was pale and large, shining down on silver grass and tall blue trees. He sat up slowly, still dizzy from the crash that had thrown him out of the escape pod. He looked around, searching for any sign of other humans, but he was alone. His last memory was the shuttle shaking, alarms blaring, and then darkness. Now all he could see was a new world. He took a deep breath and checked his pockets. His communicator was broken, but he still had his small notebook and a picture of his family. These simple things gave him comfort. He stood up and started walking, trying to understand where he had landed. After some time, he saw shapes moving between the trees. He froze, heart pounding. The shapes were not human. They were tall, with smooth pale skin and long hair that glowed faintly in the sun. Their eyes were bright and gentle. They looked at him with curiosity, not fear. The aliens spoke in soft voices, a language Jason did not know. But one of them stepped forward, wearing a simple dress made of shining cloth. She smiled and bowed. Her hair was pale purple, and her eyes were the color of the ocean. Jason tried to speak, but his words came out shaky. She touched his arm gently, then pointed toward a path. He decided to trust her. He followed the group, feeling nervous but also strangely safe. As they walked, Jason saw more of their world. The plants shimmered with colors he had never seen. Small animals with wings and bright eyes flew through the trees. The path led to a city made of shining stone and glass. Tall towers rose into the sky, and bridges crossed over streams of glowing water. The city was busy with aliens moving everywhere, but they all seemed peaceful. The group led Jason to a grand building in the center. It had wide steps and doors made of clear crystal. Inside, the air was cool and sweet. Jason saw more aliens, some wearing robes, others with crowns or jewelry. They stared at him, whispering to each other. Jason felt out of place, but the young woman with purple hair stood by his side. She guided him through halls painted with pictures of stars and planets. Finally, they reached a large room where two women stood waiting. One was tall and proud, wearing a long blue dress and a crown of silver. The other was younger, her hair a soft blue, her eyes full of light. "Welcome," said the taller woman, speaking slowly. Her voice was calm and strong. Jason was surprised that he could understand her, though her accent was strange. "I am Lyra, queen of this land. You are safe here." Jason bowed awkwardly, trying to remember his manners. "Thank you," he said. "My name is Jason. I come from Earth. My ship crashed." Queen Lyra nodded. "We know of Earth. You are the first human to visit us." The younger woman stepped forward and smiled warmly. "I am Myra," she said. "My sister is the Queen." Jason felt the kindness in their eyes and began to relax. Queen Lyra spoke to her attendants, and soon Jason was led to a guest room. It was simple but beautiful, with a soft bed and walls that changed color in the light. Food was brought to him, fruits that glowed softly, bread that tasted sweet, and water that felt cool and fresh. Jason ate slowly, thinking about everything that had happened. He wondered if anyone from Earth would find him, or if he would be stuck here forever. Days passed, and Jason learned about the palace and its people. Queen Lyra was wise and careful. She watched Jason with thoughtful eyes, but always treated him with respect. Myra was different. She laughed easily and asked many questions about Earth. She wanted to know what rain felt like, what music sounded like, and how people on Earth showed kindness. Jason enjoyed talking with her, and he began to feel less lonely. One morning, Jason heard a commotion in the gardens. He went outside and saw a young alien child had fallen and hurt her leg. The palace staff seemed unsure what to do. Jason knelt down and spoke gently to the child. Using what little medical training he had, he wrapped the injury and told her it would heal soon. The child smiled and hugged him. Queen Lyra saw this from a window and nodded in approval. As the days turned to weeks, the palace trusted Jason more. The staff smiled when they saw him, and some even tried to teach him their language. Jason learned to say simple words and was able to greet people with a smile. Myra often took him to explore the city. They visited markets full of strange food and music. Jason tried to fit in, though he knew he would always be different here. One evening, as the sky turned purple and the city lights began to glow, Myra took Jason to a balcony. She pointed out the stars. "That one is your sun," she said, showing him a bright point in the sky. "Do you miss your home?" Jason thought for a moment. "Yes," he said, "but I am grateful to be safe here." "Your world is beautiful," Myra smiled. "I am glad you are here." As the night grew dark, Jason felt a sense of peace. He did not know what his future would hold, but he was no longer afraid. He had found kindness in a strange place, and he was ready for whatever would come next. Jason woke up to the soft sound of music drifting through his window. The air smelled fresh, and light poured into his room from the sky outside. It was another new day in the alien city, and Jason still felt like he was dreaming. But each day, it became easier to accept this world as real. He washed his face and dressed in the simple clothes the palace had given him. He looked at the picture of his family for a moment, then slipped it into his pocket. He was determined to make the best of his new life. Today, Queen Lyra had invited him to join a morning meal with her and Myra. Jason entered the dining hall, where the queen and her sister waited for him. The room was bright, with sunlight falling on the long table covered in fruit, bread, and colorful drinks. Lyra greeted him with a nod while Myra smiled and waved. Jason sat with them, feeling more at ease than before. As they ate, Lyra asked about his home, and Jason told them about Earth's oceans, mountains, and cities. Myra listened closely, her eyes shining with wonder. She laughed when Jason talked about dogs and cats, and she promised to show him the animals of their world one day. The conversation was easy and warm, and for a while, Jason forgot he was far from home. When the meal was over, Lyra said she had duties to attend to, but asked Jason to meet her later in the gardens. Myra offered to show Jason the palace library, and he agreed. The library was large, with shelves of books and scrolls. Some of the books were written in the alien language, but a few had been translated by palace scholars. Myra showed Jason a book of stories about heroes and legends from her world. She read him one about a brave girl who saved her people with kindness and courage. Jason liked the story, and he told Myra about heroes from Earth, too. They spent hours talking and reading together. In the afternoon, Myra took Jason to the city market. The streets were filled with music, laughter, and the smell of sweet bread. Aliens sold bright fruits and shiny stones from their stalls. Children played with small flying creatures that glowed like lanterns. Jason felt the wonder of the place and bought a small charm for Myra, a simple glass bead. Myra was touched and wore it proudly on her wrist. She gave Jason a woven bracelet in return, saying it was a sign of friendship in her culture. As the sun began to set, Jason walked with Myra along the city walls. The sky turned soft pink and blue, and lights appeared in the towers and windows. Myra seemed thoughtful, and she finally spoke quietly. "Do you think you will ever want to go home?" Jason looked up at the stars. "I miss my family, but I do not know if I can return. I think I must find my place here." Myra nodded and touched his arm gently. "I hope you find happiness, Jason. I am glad you are here." When they returned to the palace, Jason went to the gardens to meet Queen Lyra. The gardens were full of sweet smells, with flowers that glowed in the fading light. Lyra waited by a small pond where shining fish moved slowly. She looked serious but not unfriendly. "Jason, you have been with us for many days now. I want to know what you think of our world," Jason thought carefully. "Your world is beautiful. Your people have been kind to me. I am grateful to you and Myra for making me feel welcome." Lyra studied him, then smiled a little. "My people respect courage and honesty. We are a proud people, but we have known pain and loss. Our enemies would like to see us weak, but we are strong together. I see that you have won the trust of many here." Jason felt a little shy. "I have only tried to be myself." Lyra nodded. "Sometimes that is enough. You saved a child in need. You show kindness to Myra. These things matter." They walked in the garden together, talking about their lives and hopes for the future. Lyra shared that her father, the old king, had passed away a few years ago, and she had promised to protect her people. She carried many burdens, but she trusted her sister and advisors. She said, "My sister is very dear to me. She has a kind heart, but she is young and does not always understand the ways of the world." Jason understood that Lyra cared deeply for Myra and wanted the best for her. "I think she is very brave. She makes me feel at home here." Lyra smiled again, a little warmer. "That is good to hear." As night fell, Lyra returned to her duties and Jason went to his room. He lay awake, thinking about the people he had met and the things he had seen. He felt a growing bond with Myra and respect for Queen Lyra. He wondered what his place in this new world would be. Over the next days, there was excitement in the city. A festival was coming, and everyone was busy with preparations. Myra showed Jason how to make paper lanterns, and together they decorated the palace halls. Jason learned a few simple dances from the palace staff, and though he was clumsy, everyone laughed kindly and helped him. The night of the festival arrived, and the city was alive with music and lights. The people wore bright clothes, and lanterns floated in the sky like stars. There were tables of food and games for children. Musicians played songs with strange instruments, and dancers moved in circles on the grass. Jason was nervous at first, but Myra stayed by his side. She wore a dress of pale blue that shimmered in the lantern light. She looked happy, her eyes bright and her smile wide. She pulled Jason into a dance, and though he stumbled at first, soon he was laughing and moving with the music. The crowd cheered and clapped for them, and Jason felt welcome in a way he never had before. After the dance, they sat together near a fountain, catching their breath. Myra thanked Jason for dancing with her and said she had never felt so happy. Jason smiled and told her he was glad to have her as a friend. They talked about their hopes for the future, and Myra said she wished for peace and happiness for her people. She asked Jason if he had any dreams. Jason said he wanted to help others and find a place where he truly belonged. After the festival ended, the palace became quiet. Jason was called by a palace servant to meet with Queen Lyra. He followed the servant through silent halls to a room with tall windows looking out at the city. Lyra stood waiting, her face serious but kind. She asked Jason to sit, and they spoke for a long time. She wanted to know more about his world and the people of Earth. Jason told her about Earth's history, about wars and peace, about kindness and hope. Lyra listened carefully, asking many questions. She seemed pleased with his answers and thanked him for his honesty. As the night grew late, Lyra finally said, "You have given me much to think about, Jason. I hope you will remain with us. You may find more than friendship here." Jason left the room feeling thoughtful and a little nervous. He wondered what Lyra had meant by her words. He lay awake in his bed, looking at the stars through his window, and thinking of the days ahead. Something was changing, he could feel it, and he wondered what new path was opening for him in this strange and beautiful world. The next morning, Jason woke early, still thinking about Queen Lyra's words from the night before. He could not forget the way she had looked at him, her eyes full of meaning. The palace was quiet as he walked through the halls, the only sound coming from the distant kitchens. Jason went outside into the gardens, where dew sparkled on the grass and strange birds sang in the trees. He tried to clear his mind, but questions kept coming back to him. What did Queen Lyra mean when she said he might find more than friendship here? Was she speaking about Myra or something else? As Jason wandered near the pond, he saw Myra sitting on a bench, lost in thought. She looked up and smiled when she saw him. He sat beside her, and for a while they just watched the fish swimming. Finally, Myra spoke softly. "Last night was wonderful. I have never danced like that before. Thank you for staying by my side." Jason smiled. "It was fun. You are a good dancer." He tried to sound calm, but his heart was beating fast. There was a gentle peace in the way Myra looked at him, and he felt something new growing between them. Soon, palace servants arrived, calling them back inside. The palace was full of busy soundspeople cleaning, guards talking, and messengers running to and from the throne room. Jason noticed that many eyes followed him now, and some people whispered to each other. He wondered if news of his friendship with Myra was spreading. Later in the day, Queen Lyra sent for Jason. He was brought to a meeting room with tall windows and long tables. Lyra sat at one end, looking regal in a gown of green and gold. Her advisors stood quietly by the walls. Lyra spoke in a calm voice. "Jason, please sit. I have something important to discuss with you." Jason sat, feeling a little nervous. Lyra studied him for a moment before she continued. "Our world is facing new dangers. There are rival factions who want to take the palace. Some believe that having a human among us is a sign of weakness. Others see hope in your arrival. I must think of what is best for my people." Jason nodded. "I understand. I don't want to bring trouble to you or your people." Lyra single quotes eyes softened. "You have brought more good than you know. You have shown us that humans can be kind and brave. My sister is happier than she has been in years. My people are curious and some are hopeful." She paused for a moment. "There's an old tradition among my people. When times are hard, we look for new bonds to unite us. Sometimes this means joining families through marriage." She looked straight at Jason. "I wish to ask you to consider marrying my sister, Myra." Jason was shocked. He could not speak for a moment. He looked at Lyra, trying to understand if this was a test or a joke, but her face was serious. He felt a rush of emotions, fear, surprise, even hope. Marry Myra? He thought of her smile and her gentle voice, and how she had made him feel welcome. At the same time, he thought about his family back on Earth and the life he had lost. Lyra continued. "You do not have to decide now. I want you to know why I ask this. Our enemies are growing stronger, somewhere inside these walls. If you become part of our family, it will give my people hope. It will show them that humans and our kind can be united. It will also give you protection." She leaned forward. "I would never force you. I only ask that you think about it, for the good of us all." Jason felt the weight of her words. He nodded slowly. "I will think about it. Thank you for trusting me." When Jason left the room, he felt overwhelmed. He walked through the palace, trying to understand what he felt. His mind was full of memories from Earth, his family, his friends, his dreams. But he also thought of Myra, of her laughter and her kindness. He went to the gardens again, hoping to find peace. Myra found him there, sitting alone. She saw the look on his face and sat quietly beside him. After a while, she asked, "Is something wrong?" Jason shook his head. "Not wrong, just confusing. Your sister asked me something important. She asked if I would consider marrying you." Myra was silent. Her cheeks turned a soft blue, which Jason learned was a sign of embarrassment or shyness. "Do you want to?" she asked softly. Jason was honest. "I don't know yet. I like you very much, Myra. You are kind and brave. You make me feel at home. But I come from a world far away, and I still miss my family. I do not know what is right." Myra smiled gently. "I understand. You do not have to decide. Now, I am glad you are honest with me." She touched his hand. "Whatever you choose, I hope we will always be friends." They sat together in silence, listening to the soft sounds of the garden. For the next few days, Jason spent more time with Myra. They visited the city again, this time going to a quiet park near the river. They watched boats float by and fed small birds that came to their feet. Myra told Jason about her dreams, how she wanted to travel, to learn new things, to help her people. Jason shared his own hopes and fears. He realized he trusted Myra, and he wanted her to be happy. As the week went on, the palace felt different. Guards watched more closely, and there were rumors of trouble outside the city. Jason could sense the tension, even if no one spoke of it directly. At night, he often saw Queen Lyra talking with her advisors, her face worried. One evening, after a long walk, Jason found Lyra waiting for him in the library. She asked if he had thought about her request. Jason nodded. "I am still thinking," he said. "I care about Myra. I want to do what is right, but I need more time." Lyra nodded in understanding. "Take your time. But no, this Myra cares for you deeply. She believes you can bring hope to our people. If you decide to join our family, you will not be alone." That night, Jason lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. He felt lost between two worlds, his old life on Earth and this new life among the aliens. He remembered how lonely he felt when he first arrived, and how Myra's friendship had changed that. He wondered if he could really become part of this family, if he could help bring peace. The next morning, Jason met Myra for breakfast. She looked happy to see him. They ate together, talking about simple things, the food, the weather, the birds outside the window. Jason realized how much he enjoyed these moments. He thought about what it would mean to stay here forever. As they finished their meal, a servant arrived with a message. The queen wanted to see both of them in the throne room. When they arrived, the room was filled with important people, advisors, guards, and palace staff. Queen Lyra stood at the front, looking proud and calm. She spoke to everyone. Our world is changing. We must stand together. Today we welcome Jason as one of our own. We ask him to consider joining our family, to bring hope and unity to our people. Myra stood beside Jason, her eyes shining with hope. Jason felt the eyes of everyone in the room on him. He did not have an answer yet, but he knew he was not alone. Whatever choice he made, it would change his life forever. For now, he smiled at Myra and took her hand, ready to face whatever would come next. The days after the meeting in the throne room were tense and full of new feelings for Jason. Everyone in the palace treated him with more respect, but there was also a new kind of distance. Some of the palace staff looked at him with curiosity, while others whispered as he passed by. Jason tried to smile and be kind, but he could feel the pressure growing around him. Myra stayed close to him, always ready with a gentle word or a laugh to help him forget the worries for a while. Jason noticed that Myra was also different. She seemed happy when she was with him, but sometimes she looked worried when she thought he was not watching. They spent a lot of time together, walking in the palace gardens or sitting by the river that ran near the city walls. Jason told her stories about Earth, and she told him about her childhood growing up in the palace. She said she always dreamed of seeing other worlds and meeting new people. Now Jason was here, and everything had changed. One afternoon, as they walked by the river, Myra asked quietly, "Are you afraid of what might happen if you choose to stay here?" Jason thought for a while before answering. "I am a little afraid, but I also feel hope. I want to help you and your people. I just do not want to make a mistake that would hurt you or Queen Lyra." Myra smiled softly. "You are a good person, Jason. I believe in you. Whatever happens, I will always be your friend." The days passed quickly as the festival joy faded, replaced by tension in the city. Jason could see that the guards were more serious, and the advisors often met in small groups, whispering about the trouble outside the walls. Rumors of a rival prince wanting to take the throne spread quickly. Some people thought a human in the royal family would make them weak, while others believed it would help bring peace. One evening, as Jason was walking to his room, a group of palace staff looked at him with cold eyes. One of them spoke quietly, but Jason heard the words, "Humans do not belong here." Jason pretended not to notice, but the words stayed with him. That night there was a sudden alarm. Jason woke to the sound of shouting and running feet in the halls. He hurried out of his room and found Myra waiting for him, her eyes wide with fear. "The palace is under attack," she whispered. "Follow me." Myra led Jason through hidden passages in the palace. They could hear distant sounds of fighting, metal on metal, and people shouting. Myra tried to stay calm, but Jason could feel her shaking. They reached a small room where Queen Lyra and her closest advisors were waiting. Lyra's face was set and strong. "Jason, I am glad you are safe. We are being attacked by the rival prince's men. We must protect the people and the palace." Jason nodded. "What can I do?" Lyra looked at him with respect. "You have already shown your courage. Stay with Myra and help protect her. We may need you before the night is over." The fighting grew louder. Jason took Myra's hand and promised to keep her safe. Soon, some of the Queen's guards came and led everyone through another secret tunnel. They moved quickly, listening for danger. At one point, they heard voices ahead and everyone stopped. Jason could hear the enemy soldiers searching for them. He squeezed Myra's hand and tried to keep his breathing quiet. The group made it to a hidden chamber deep below the palace. Here, Lyra gave orders to her guards, sending them to defend important parts of the palace. Jason watched as Lyra moved, with calm strength. He saw why her people trusted her so much. As the hours passed, news reached them that the Queen's guards were fighting bravely, but the enemy was strong. Jason wanted to help, but he remembered his promise to Lyra. When Myra saw how worried he was, she said softly, "You are helping me by staying here. I feel safe with you." Suddenly there was a loud noise at the door. The guards quickly formed a line, weapons ready. The door burst open and several enemy soldiers rushed in. Jason acted without thinking. He pulled Myra behind him and grabbed a metal rod from the wall. He stood in front of her, facing the soldiers. The guards fought hard, but a soldier broke past them and came toward Myra. Jason blocked him with the rod, pushing him back. Another guard knocked the enemy down, and the fighting soon ended. The Queen's guards had won. Lyra thanked Jason for his bravery. "You are one of us now," she said. "Your courage has saved my sister and helped protect our home." After the fight, the enemy soldiers were taken away, and the palace began to calm down. Jason stayed close to Myra and the Queen, feeling both tired and proud. The city slowly returned to normal, though the scars of the attack were everywhere. People spoke of Jason's bravery, and many who once doubted him now smiled when they saw him. In the days that followed, the Queen called a meeting with her advisors and palace leaders. Jason was invited to join. They talked about how to bring peace to the city and how to show the people that unity was possible. Jason shared his ideas, speaking honestly about what he had learned from Earth and from the aliens. He said that kindness and respect were stronger than fear, and that together they could build a better future. The Queen's advisors were impressed. Some of them still worried about a human joining the royal family, but others now supported the idea. Myra spoke up in the meeting, telling everyone that Jason had saved her life and that he truly cared for their people. Her words touched many hearts. One day, Jason and Myra walked through the city. People came up to thank him for his courage. Children gave him flowers and gifts. Jason felt moved by their kindness and started to believe that maybe he could belong here after all. But not everyone was happy. One afternoon, a group of nobles who supported the rival prince confronted Jason in the palace garden. They tried to frighten him with harsh words. "You do not belong here," they said. "You will ruin our world." Jason listened, but he did not back down. He told them, "I am here to help. I want peace for all of us." The nobles walked away, still angry. But Jason felt stronger for having spoken his truth. That night, as Jason sat with Myra and Lyra in the quiet of the palace, they talked about the future. Lyra thanked Jason again for his bravery. Myra took his hand and said, "You are not alone. We will face whatever comes together." Jason went to bed that night with hope in his heart. He knew there would be more challenges, but he also knew that kindness and courage could change the world. As he fell asleep, he thought of his old home on Earth, and his new home here, and felt ready to face whatever tomorrow would bring. The sun rose over the palace, casting long shadows across the gardens. Jason woke with a sense of purpose. He remembered the night of the attack and the meeting that would come today. The Queen had called all her council and invited him to speak. He dressed quietly and left his room, feeling the eyes of palace staff on him as he passed. He nodded respectfully but did not stop. In the grand hall, advisors, guards, and nobles gathered in rows. The walls glowed softly with living vines. Jason took his place beside Myra. Queen Lyra entered, wearing a dress of silver and green. She sat on her throne and looked at everyone. Jason felt his heart beat fast. He had learned to speak in this hall, but today his words felt heavy. Lyra spoke first. "Thank you all for coming." She paused. "We have faced a threat and shown that we can survive. We have seen courage and kindness in unexpected places." She looked at Jason. "Our guest from Earth has shown us much." He stood when Lyra spoke of him. He bowed respectfully. Lyra continued. "Jason has told us of his world, his people, and their hope. He has helped protect our home. Now I ask Jason to share his thoughts." Jason stepped forward. He took a deep breath and spoke in the alien tongue he had learned. "Respected Queen, honored council, thank you for this chance. Earth faces many challenges, but I have seen here that kindness unites, fear divides. If we trust each other, we can build peace. He looked at the nobles. Unite, respect, protect. These are keys to a strong kingdom. The hall was silent. Jason. Sut, unsure of his words, then Lyra spoke again. Your words inspire me, Jason. They inspire all of us. She paused, then smiled at Myra. Myra, stand by my side. Myra stood and joined her sister. Lyra turned to Jason. Jason, I have offered you my sister's hand. Now I have another wish for you. The hall grew still. Even Jason paused in surprise. Lyra spoke softly. My sister and I are bound by blood and duty. When one chooses a path, the other walks beside. To strengthen our bond, I ask you to consider not only marrying Myra, but also marrying me. 2 sisters, 1 promise, 1 heart. The words hung in the air. Gasps rose from the crowd. Some nobles exchanged shocked looks. Jason's face was pale. He looked at Myra. Her cheeks shone with emotion and her eyes were wide. Myra covered her mouth with her hand. She looked at her sister, then at Jason. Tears formed in her eyes. The hall waited for Jason to reply. He swallowed hard and rose. He bowed. Your Majesty. Your Highness, I am honored by your trust. I did not expect this. I need time to think and to speak with both of you. The Queen nodded. That is fair, Jason. You have 3 days to decide. Until then, you will remain in the palace under my protection. Lyra dismissed the council. The people stood and slowly left the hall. Jason and Myra walked to the gardens alone. The morning sun was strong on their backs. Myra spoke quietly, tears in her voice. I did not know she would ask that. I love you, Jason. But I do not know if I can share you. Jason took her hand. I care for you more than I can say. I want to protect you both. I will speak with Queen Lyra. We will find the right path. Over the next hours, Jason sought Queen Lyra in her chambers. Lyra was arranging flowers in a vase of water that glowed blue. She looked up and smiled sadly. You wish to speak? Jason nodded. I am grateful for your offer. I need to understand what this means for you and for Myra. Lyra sat and motioned for him to sit. She placed a hand over a carved table. She spoke softly. When our father died, Myra and I made a vow. We would always protect each other and our people. We are sisters, but we are also halves of one soul. If one finds love, the other shares that bond. It is our ancient custom, though rarely practiced. It binds us and our partners to the throne. Jason listened, understanding the weight of her words. Lyra continued. My wish is not to hurt Myra. I love her deeply. But I have seen how you and Myra grow together. I hope to share that love. If it troubles you, I can withdraw my request. Your happiness matters to me. Jason felt the kindness in her voice. He realized that both sisters sacrificed for each other. He knelt before Lyra. Your Majesty, I respect this custom, but it is new to me. I promise to honor your people and your traditions. I will speak to my heart and to Myra, and I will decide. Lyra helped him to his feet. That is all I ask. Take your time. Jason left her chambers feeling both relieved and burdened. He walked through the palace halls, thinking of his own world's customs and of the love he felt for Myra. Days passed slowly. Jason spent time alone by the river and time with Myra in the markets. They picked fruits and made baskets together. They laughed, and for a moment life felt simple. Then he returned to the palace and saw the signs of the council's decision. Messages posted on boards, people speaking of the choice that would shape the kingdom. On the 3rd day, Jason prepared to give his answer. He carried the small picture of his family in his pocket and the 2 gifts from the sisters, the glass charm and the woven bracelet. He entered the grand hall where the council had gathered again. Myra sat beside Queen Lyra. Jason stood before them, feeling the eyes of the kingdom. Lyra spoke first. Jason, have you reached a decision? Jason bowed deeply. Queen, yes. I have listened to you and to Myra. I have thought of my home and of this world. Love and respect guide us. I care for Myra with all my heart. I also care for you, sister of my love, and I respect your bond. I choose to join your family fully. I will marry both of you, if you both wish. Myra looked at Jason, tears of joy in her eyes. She stood and approached him. I wish this too, Jason. I trust your heart. She turned to her sister. Lyra, I am happy to share this bond. Lyra rose and embraced both Jason and Myra. The hall erupted in applause. Advisors cheered, guards saluted, and nobles nodded in approval. Lyra spoke to the crowd. Let this union be a symbol. Let it show that love can unite worlds. Let it strengthen our kingdom. The people cheered louder. Jason felt a warmth in his chest, knowing he was part of something greater. After the ceremony, the sisters and Jason walked in the gardens together. They spoke of the future and of peace for their world. Jason held both their hands, feeling hope and love. He looked at the sky, knowing his choice would guide the kingdom forward. That night, as they watched the stars, Jason whispered, "Thank you for trusting me." Lyra smiled. "And thank you for accepting us." Myra leaned her head on his shoulder. "Together, we will build a new world." Jason closed his eyes, feeling at home at last, ready for the next part of his life. Jason awoke to a new day filled with light and promise. The palace was quiet as he dressed in simple clothes. Today would be different. He felt the weight of recent events, but also a sense of hope. He carried no weapons, only his heart and his thoughts for the future. He walked through the halls to the gardens, where Myra was waiting under a pale pink tree. She smiled when she saw him. "Good morning, Jason," she said softly. Jason nodded. "Good morning, Myra. I thought we might spend today together. I want to remember these moments before everything changes." Myra's eyes shone. "I'd like that." They walked slowly through the garden paths, talking quietly. The air smelled of flowers and the sun was warm on their skin. Jason looked at Myra's face, gentle and bright. He knew he cared for her deeply and felt ready to make his choice. They reached a small fountain where fish swam in clear water. Myra knelt by the edge and watched the fish. Jason sat beside her. "Myra, I have been thinking." He paused. Myra looked at him expectantly. "I want you to know that today I will give my answer to the Queen and to you." "I hope you know how much." "You mean to me?" Myra's cheeks glowed a soft blue. "I know, Jason. I will be by your side, no matter what you choose." A gentle breeze moved through the leaves. Jason took a deep breath. "I care for you more than I can say. I want to build a life here, with you and Dorothy, sister. My heart is open to both of you." Myra reached for his hand and squeezed it. That moment felt like a promise. Jason and Myra walked back to the palace together, hand in hand. They passed palace staff who nodded respectfully. Jason felt a growing confidence as he neared the grand hall. In the hall, Queen Lyra stood with advisors and nobles. The air was still. Jason bowed deeply. "Lyra, I have made my decision." She nodded. He spoke clearly. "Your Majesty, Your Highness, I choose to join your family. I wish to marry both of you, if you still desire it. I promise to honor your world and protect it with my life." The room was silent for a heartbeat. Then Myra approached Jason and slipped her hand into his. Lyra stepped forward and placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. Both sisters looked at him with trust and love. Myra spoke first. "Jason, I am honored and happy. I accept you with all my heart." Myra took Lyra's hand. Lyra nodded and spoke. "And I accept you, Jason. Together we will lead our people." Gasps turned to cheers. The council and nobles applauded. Jason felt tears in his eyes at the outpouring of support. Palace guards stood at attention. The people of the kingdom had welcomed him fully. That evening, a small ceremony was held in the palace gardens. Lights hung from the trees and soft music played. Jason stood between Lyra and Myra, each holding one of his hands. The Queen's advisor spoke words of unity and hope, declaring the union a symbol of peace. Jason and Myra each placed a simple ring on his fingers, one of woven metal and one of glass that caught the light. Then Jason placed matching rings on both sisters. Though simple, the rings held deep meaning, love, trust, and a bond between worlds. After the ceremony, the three of them walked through the gardens, greeting guests and friends. Children ran up to hug Jason, calling him honored father in their own way. Jason laughed and bowed, feeling joy he had never known. As they reached the palace balcony, Jason looked at the stars above. Myra rested her head on his shoulder, and Lyra stood close behind. Jason whispered, "I am yours, both of you, and I will serve our world with all I have." Lyra smiled. "And we are yours. We will face the future, hand in hand." In the days that followed, life settled into its new rhythm. Jason divided his time between duties with the council and simple moments with the sisters, walking the markets, visiting the library, and exploring the countryside beyond the city walls. One morning, Jason accompanied the sisters on a visit to a small village where people still felt wary of humans. Children played in dusty streets, and elders watched from doorways. Jason spoke kindly, respecting their customs. Lyra and Myra stood by him, showing their support. By midday, the villagers greeted them warmly, sharing food and stories. Jason saw how love and respect built bridges. Over time, Jason worked with the Queen to strengthen alliances with neighboring kingdoms. He used ideas from Earth's history, diplomacy, shared festivals, and joint projects. Myra led efforts to help children learn and study, building schools and libraries. Together they balanced each other's strengths. Jason's empathy, Lyra's wisdom, and Myra's warmth. Each evening they reunited in the palace, sharing meals and laughter. One night, Jason found a song from Earth and tried to play it on a simple string instrument. Myra laughed joyfully and joined in with her own melody, while Lyra listened with a gentle smile. Late one night, Jason watched Lyra study maps and plans at her desk. He gently touched her shoulder. "You work too hard," he said softly. Lyra looked up, surprised but pleased. "You remind me of Earth's healers. You care for all of us." Jason offered to help, and she allowed him to review her plans. Together, they found new ideas for trade and cultural exchange. In quieter moments, Jason and Myra walked under the blue trees near his landing site. They collected silver grass and pressed it in a book, making memories of their life together. They spoke of dreams of peace across galaxies, of children learning in starlit schools, of a world bound by love. During a council meeting, the rival prince's faction bowed before the Queen and Jason. They acknowledged their wrongs and pledged loyalty. Jason felt hope that wounds could heal. The prince himself attended a feast, offering respect. Jason toasted to new beginnings, and the hall cheered. Time passed, and Jason felt a sense of home he never imagined. Myra and Lyra stood by him in his dreams, two sisters who shared his heart. As days turned to seasons, their bond grew stronger. They built a life together filled with love, duty, and hope. One morning, Jason stood at the edge of a cliff overlooking the sea of silver grass, the sun rising in gold. Myra and Lyra joined him, each taking a hand. Jason spoke quietly. "Thank you, sisters, for sharing your world and your hearts. I promise to love and protect you always." They watched the sunrise together, three silhouettes against a new day. In that moment, Jason knew he had found his place. He was part of a family, a kingdom, and a future where kindness and love could shape the stars.